Siomra
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Sure Look, Sure Listen, the podcast that takes a pop at culture.
Sure look, sure listen. Sure look, sure listen.
Sure look, sure listen.
Sure look, sure listen.
Sure look, sure listen.
Sure look, sure listen.
Sure Look, Sure Listen. Sure Look it, listeners. This week, Ben, famous podcast host Ben, was last seen heading off in the company of Sean Penn to the Donbass region of Ukraine. So we've had to fly in a replacement. It's Shane. Shane is here for us this week. Hello, Shane.
Ladies and gentlemen, good to be back. How are we all keeping?
It's not really. They won't be able to interact. It's because
I've misunderstood the medium completely.
Yes, no. It's
At least they can see me smiling now.
No, it's an audience.
That's swing and a miss again.
Once again, Shane. Sure, look it. No, do I do that? Yes. Sure, look at Shane. In Ben's absence this week, we'll be taking a look at a large muscular man, Jack Reacher.
Yes.
We'll also be having a look at the Lord of the Rings. Is it going to be any good? Most people say no. We'll be having a look, Ben. Oh, no, you're not Ben. You're Shane. In our famous,
very different people.
Very different. In our famous segment, We've Slept on It. I've seen The Kingsman, and so have you.
We have, yes.
And
Keeping
then
up with what came out months ago.
Very good. And then, sure, listen. In the current climate of World War talk and invasion talk, we're going to look at have a look at some of the best and worst invasions in popular culture.
Yes, we are.
Some people might say a bit on the nose.
A bit on the nose, but let's be clear, Mick.
Yes.
We are against this war.
Very
we are
much.
against Vladimir Putin.
Get rid of him.
Anything we say today is in support of some sort of fictional two Ukrainian wankers who sat and did a podcast last week, and suddenly their lives have been turned upside down. Every time I have a moment of normalcy and I forget all of the shit that's going on, I then remember and I get a little bit sad because I can't understand why normal people are just getting fucked over.
They're getting bombed.
Yeah.
It's no use.
For nothing they've done.
Put them in the bin. That's what I say.
Yeah.
That's the we've solved this, Shane. We've solved the whole problem.
The theme of today's podcast will be dickhead invaders.
Get rid of them.
We'll ask the question at the end of each invader and go, are they worse than Putin?
Probably not.
Probably not.
Probably not. Shane, I'm going to call you Ben multiple times, so I'm going to try and not do that. Shane,
I find a good trick for remembering who I am.
Yes.
To just look at me.
Shane. You're Shane.
Different colour hair. Different size and shape. Different height.
Very distinct from Ben.
Very distinct.
Shane, what are we talking about? What is Jack Reacher? What's he reaching for?
Just his goals. Wandering through America, just trying to find himself, to self-actualize.
Isn't his goal usually just beating people up?
I think his goal is generally to be left alone. But when you're a muscular man of that size and skill set, you got to beat people up.
You just have to do it.
Yep.
Shane, now you and I and the listeners would probably jump to thinking, oh, they're talking about one Thomas Eugene Cruz, the world's shortest badass.
Yes.
But apparently we're not.
Apparently we're not. It is now played by Alan Ritchson, who
listeners never heard of him.
Yes, you definitely have, Michael.
Go on.
He was Hawk in Teen Titans.
Oh!
He was one of the tributes in Hunger Games.
Yeah.
One of the handsome career ones.
Those lads, yeah.
It's like Jennifer Lawrence was here for just a second. That was brilliant.
The shocker gesture, yeah.
No, that's the wrong one. That was for jiu-jitsu or devil horns. I'm not sure which.
Mm-hmm.
He was
Aquaman. He was the first Aquaman in Smallville.
Yeah.
Oh, it's that fella.
He is nerd favourite Alan Ritchson.
He's a big fella. He's a big lump of a fella.
He is. Now, what's nice is I think he actually is like 6'2", 6'3" tall.
That's not that big.
But they shoot the camera angles to make him look like 6'5", 6'6".
Very good. They tried that with Tom Cruise as well. It made him look 5'6".
Yeah.
Shane, in the books, you've read all of the books.
I've read 2 of the books.
Yes, all of the books.
There's like 20 odd.
Oh, that's too many.
Lee Child has now given, I think his brother or brother-in-law or some lad he met on the street, the rights to the books to carry on the legacy. They're all essentially the same book.
Go on.
Well, Jack Reacher just shows up. He just wants to be left alone, travel around America, see the country that he's been defending for so long. And then something just gets in the way and has to be Jack Reachered.
Oh no, some sort of hillbillies usually.
It could be big government, could be big industry, could be small industry. Could be, I've kind of run out of the things that I've read about.
Could be brick and mortar retail.
Might be.
Could be mom and pop.
I suppose,
industry.
I mean, Jack Reacher might spend one of the books setting up some sort of online reseller. That would be brilliant.
He just goes around and kicks the shit out of
Yeah.
people with brick and mortar shops.
Yeah, spends late nights delivering, so he gets it there on time.
Shane, in the books, one of the biggest complaints about Thomas Eugene Cruise playing Jack Reacher was that he was only a teeny tiny little fella.
Yes.
And in the books, is he a big lump of a man or is he rangy?
No, he's a big lump of a man.
Is he a big lump of a man?
He's supposed to be 6'5", 265 pounds.
What's that in real money?
I think it's north of 100 kilos.
Yeah,
Like the
okay.
big man. It's the kind of man that I'd be afraid of.
All right, okay.
And I'm not afraid of many.
No, just Ben.
Just Ben.
Yeah.
Terrified of Ben. Never
Sean
here
Penn.
at the same time as Ben.
And the
Ben-
actor Sean Penn.
Yeah. Yeah, he might hit me like he hit Madonna.
Remember when he hit Madonna?
Oh yeah, people are forgetting about that.
He's forgiven for that, hasn't
Yeah.
he? All he had to do was go and fight in Ukraine, and everyone's like, that's grand that time he hit Madonna.
He did that thing as well. Remember with Katrina where he went down in his boat, but he also had a security detail on his boat, so he was driving around saving people, but I think could save one person at a time and then had to fuck off because the boat was so full of security.
No, I don't remember that.
Ah, he did. He's a prick. Him and Ben will get on famously.
Very good.
Yes. No, Jack Reacher is described as a massive man with abs like what was
Grilled
it,
cheese.
No, cobblestones.
Oh, no, all irregular.
Yeah, like ape-like arms,
Oh,
biceps like basketballs, that kind of thing.
no.
So Alan Richardson spends much of the first episode of Jack Reacher in constant flex.
That's our lives, Shane.
Yeah,
That's our
I
bloody
really, I
lives.
sat there and I appreciated it. I was like, oh, look at that man flexing.
Oh,
He's
poor-
probably dehydrated at this stage.
Is it any use?
It is very enjoyable.
Go on.
Imagine if you thought Sherlock Holmes was a bit too cerebral and they spent no time at all explaining how Sherlock Holmes arrived at the conclusion that he's arrived at.
Yes.
And you also thought that Sherlock Holmes wasn't that attractive and you'd prefer a big muscular man. Jack Reacher solves all of those problems for you. It's a big muscular man who doesn't have a thought that he doesn't express. But they get it. They understand what they're going for and they succeed in their aims. It's a very enjoyable kill fest.
Is he just killing people left, right, and centre?
When they deserve it.
Oh,
But every now and again, other people mightn't think they deserve it. So Jack Reacher's like, no, let him go.
no, they
But it's
definitely
like-
did deserve it, though.
It's like in that Schwarzenegger movie when he's holding the guy off the cliff and he's like, I let him go.
Ah,
Yeah, he didn't. He fucking
he
killed
let
him.
him go. He just dropped him off. It was Sully, I believe.
Yeah.
Shane, that's enough bloody Jack Reacher.
Is it?
Is it, though?
There's 20 odd books, Mick. And more to come.
It's never ending. Shane, speaking of books that are too long, you are a huge Lord of the Rings fan.
I am.
One of
I've
the
read it
biggest.
A couple of times. I've read the Silmarillion. I've
Yeah.
read all sorts of shit.
All the bad ones, too.
Yeah.
The Christopher Tolkien ones.
Yeah. I've seen most of the movies. No, I've seen all of the movies.
Even The Hobbit.
Yeah.
Even the three not good ones.
Yeah. Oh.
We getting
Which-
started?
Yeah, we're getting started. The three not good ones
Yes.
are what Marvel's, or not Marvel, Amazon seem to be basing their new series on.
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah.
Don't they?
Make it look like that shit one there.
Remember the one that no one liked?
Yeah.
Did they make money? They must have made some money.
I think so. Peter Jackson is massively wealthy. I think people went to see it just for the scenery.
The scenery and the Peter Jacksonery.
Yeah. It'd be like watching what is a popular travel program right now. I haven't really.
I don't
kept
know. Wish you
pace.
were here.
Yes, it'd be like watching Wish You Were Here with Orcs.
There's a deep cut for
Yeah.
80s Irish kids for you. With, what was the guy's name? Craig Roberts. Craig Robbins?
No.
You know the guy. The fella.
Yeah,
Shane. Why is Galadriel wearing armour, though? I don't get it.
she's some sort of warrior princess.
Yeah, everyone's...
Galadriel is supposed to be this, saw the last of the Silmarils, the light of the West, all of this nonsense. She looks kind of ordinary.
Yeah, she's just a normal lady.
Yeah.
I didn't even realise it was Galadriel, to be
No,
honest.
people have pointed it out.
Yeah.
And the armour, it looks a bit naff. And the shooting looks a bit naff. Everything looks a bit naff. Like, last time we were on, Mick, I spoke about Wheel of Time. And it was alright.
Wheel of Time.
Yes, that one. It ended up. But it looked like it could have done with more budget. And some of the orcs, or whatever they were.
The Wheels of Times is...
Yes. They could have had more money put into them. They haven't learned that lesson from this. Or all of the money they've reputedly spent on this, they've spent elsewhere.
I think they've spent it on bloody shaving all the lady dwarfs' beards off.
Oh. Ooh.
Do you see what I've done?
Hashtag me too.
No, in what sense?
Lady dwarves can now shave. They have rights.
No, is that what it is? Because Bane. I'll just combine you into one person. Shane. No, that wasn't great.
Bane.
That wasn't great.
Do the face.
Don't do it. No, we've a no impressions policy.
Okay, good.
Shane, you as one of the biggest fans of female dwarfs on the internet.
Am I?
Yeah, I've seen your search history.
Okay.
The dwarf women are just as bearded as the men.
Yes.
And
there was a joke about it in the Lord of the Rings movie.
Nigh indistinguishable from the men.
Yes.
Well, unless they're in the nude, I suppose.
Possibly.
So we may have already seen loads of female dwarfs, and they just look so different from men so the same as the male dwarfs that we can't tell them apart. But they've done away with that.
Go on.
Then, well, now the female dwarfs are attractive people of colour.
Oh.
I mean,
I'm for attractive people of colour. I'm against fucking with dwarf mythology.
That's exactly what your internet search history would suggest.
Yes.
It's pretty much, they're the two main terms. Attractive people of colour and don't fuck with dwarf mythology. Two most recent searches. Shane, I don't know. I don't think it's... They say the most expensive TV show ever made, but potentially the biggest, most expensive flop ever made in the history of making things.
Ooh, a folly.
Do
you think, like when the Irish were besieged and befamined and wealthy noblemen built follies to employ the locals?
Yes.
Amazon are doing something similar.
It's
Following on from a pandemic, they're like, "Oh, look at those poor Irish locals there. Let's make a folly."
Is it not in New Zealand?
I can't do a New Zealand accent.
No impressions. That's the rule. No impressions.
Ben's not here.
If
Impressions are Ben's thing.
Yeah, Ben can do the impressions when he comes back.
Yeah, we'll get him to dub them in.
But Ben, just dub some impressions in when you're editing
Let's
this.
leave a moment of silence for Ben to do New Zealand. There we go.
Thanks, Ben. That was great. Shane.
Yes.
Speaking of follies, the Kingsman was good. What was the first one called? The one with Taron Egerton.
Yeah. Kingsman.
Kingsman? Was it just called Kingsman?
Yeah.
That was good, wasn't it?
It was. That was very good.
That was a good film. And then Kingsman 2.
It was not as good.
No.
And they did a bit of... Remember that nice female character they developed and introduced in the first one?
Yeah, they just
fucking killed her off screen.
In the first 10 minutes, they just killed her off screen with a missile strike. Wasn't a fan of that.
No.
That was very unpleasant.
That stung me. Like when Men in Black were like, remember the end of that movie where we introduced the two new Men in Black? Fuck that, bring Tommy Lee Jones back.
When did they do that?
I think Tommy Lee Jones is a bigger draw than that lady. Remember the end of Men in Black? Where
no.
it was the coroner or whatever. She was in the black suit with Will Smith. They'd set up a new team.
Oh, they set up a new team. Was it
This week's podcast is going to be Mick hazily remembering things.
Hazily remembering Men in Black 2. Was that Men in Black 1? That was Men in Black 1.
Yeah, that was the end of Men in Black 1. And
yes.
then from Men in Black 2, they were like, fuck it, bring Tommy Lee Jones
bring
back.
Tommy Lee Jones back. He's in this house with his family.
Yeah.
What's that got to do with Kingsman?
Because they just got rid of a female character.
Right. Oh, but they didn't kill her.
No.
They just didn't mention her.
They just didn't. Yeah.
They just didn't mention her at all.
Even give her the dignity of an off-screen death. They just said, fuck it, we won't mention her.
And they didn't mention her.
No.
Where did she go?
Don't know. Office.
The back office.
Yeah.
Oh no.
She's doing some important paperwork now.
Oh, that's not fair. Peggy Carter would be appalled.
Yeah.
Apropos of nothing, Shane, earlier on today we did teach your 2-year-old son to accidentally say up the patriarchy, and it had just come back and reminded me of that. So how's that going to work out, do you think?
That's pretty good.
He was saying up the patriarchy.
He was.
In public.
We had a 2-year-old in a bar. We're terrible parents.
Well, we're not parenting together. We should point that out.
No.
Just in case there are any listeners.
We could.
In this day and age, who would stop us?
Yeah. It would probably go somewhat to nullify the effect that we're two, attractive straight men.
Yeah.
If we were parenting together, they'd be like, oh, look.
The only shame is that child keeps saying up the patriarchy. Yeah, we probably shouldn't have taught him to say that. Anyway, back on track. Why then, if the first one was quite good and the second one was passable, is the third one an absolute bag of poo?
I don't know. I think it suffers a little bit from Han Solo syndrome of, look where we got our room. Look where we got our expressions and our sayings.
Look where we got our shirt.
Yeah.
Look where I got my shoes.
Yeah.
So this is our famous segment, Ben. Ben, I've done it again. I've called you Ben. This is our famous segment, Shane. We've slept on it. Where, look, by hook or by crook, we just were too lazy to go see The Kingsman.
Well, yeah, it came out in the cinema. It didn't stay very long, and then it came out on Disney Plus, and it took us a while to scroll through enough shit to go, oh, there it is.
There it is now.
And then it was probably another week or two before we got around to actually watching it.
So
listeners, here's a hot take you didn't want.
It's a hot take you didn't want on a film you most likely haven't seen. Shane, what a cast, though.
Yeah.
What an absolutely stellar cast.
Yeah.
Incredible cast.
Everyone.
We're gonna spoil this.
Yeah, can you spoil shit movies?
Yes, you can. We're gonna spoil any surprises.
We're going to spoil surprises, but
yeah,
if you're listening to this going, I probably wouldn't listen to or probably wouldn't watch that, and we create an environment wherein you might want to go and see just how bad this is or how they fucked it up, maybe we're not spoiling it. Maybe we're seasoning it. So we're going to season the shit out of this movie.
We're gonna spice up. What's it called?
Viewing The Kingsman.
The Kingsman. Because there's one twist in it. There was one shocking twist.
It was forecast. So viewers, cast your mind back to the first one, where what's his name, Mr. Darcy, is explaining to young Taron Egerton, that the Kingsman organisation was set up by noblemen back at the turn of the century because they'd seen too many of their sons die.
Right.
Now so this movie starts and a wife dies, and so Ralph Fiennes is raising his son up, and his son desperately wants to go and fight in World War One for patriotism. Yeah. Despite understanding and seeing like the strings being pulled behind
World
the main
War
issues.
Yeah.
And despite World War One essentially being just a blender of death.
Oh, gross.
Oh, it's absolutely horrible.
Gross and horrible.
Trench warfare. What the fuck?
Get rid of it.
No, wouldn't be a fan. So
still though,
yeah,
probably not as bad as Putin.
So knowing this yeah, definitely not as bad as Putin. Well,
is that the same?
Yeah. Dickheads. So yeah. Where was I with this?
Sons.
Yeah, so they'd seen too many of their sons die.
Yeah, bloody hell. You can't send any more boys off to the war.
At least us British are still reasonable. They'd seen too many of their sons die. That was the line that was in the first movie. So we're watching this going, oh, he's seen his wife die. Surely they won't kill his son, who seems to be shaping up to have a skill set that he might be a decent Kingsman. Maybe he'll see somebody die. Maybe it's somebody else's son.
Maybe his dad's going to die.
Yeah, too many people. Maybe they won't adhere to exactly the line from the movie. Did they fuck? They shot him right in the head.
Right square in the head. And
moments after the action scene that you thought he might get winged in and die a kind of an on-battlefield death, just at the moment where you thought he was safe, bang!
But what's really weird about that moment, and that is the only moment in that entire film that's worth talking about.
Yeah.
But what's really weird about it is the first half of the film and the second half of the film are Kingsman-y, action, superhero-esque, heightened. It's not James Bond, it's much more heightened than that. Everyone's leaping about the place, doing high kicks and high punches, and everyone you've ever met is a seasoned sniper and sword fighter. And
to be honest, did enjoy the Rasputin knife fight a little bit.
The fight with Rasputin happens, and they're fighting Russian monk, actual historical figure Rasputin, and he's fighting the three of them with swords and a dagger coated in opium, whilst Russian dancing on tables, while erotically licking Ralph Fiennes' leg to cure a past injury. He's jumping over swords, he's doing Russian dancing and kicking people in the head, and the three of them, he keeps coming back from the dead, and there's this massive lunatic fight with Rasputin. And then the next 15 minutes is just the grimmest World War I film. It's as grim as 1917 by Sam Raimi.
Yeah.
It's a horrible, grim depiction of World War I.
World War I just sticks in my head. Like, we were raised on Blackadder.
I wasn't.
Were you not?
No, we weren't. We didn't watch British things in my house.
Oh. Bit of a political allegiance there.
Bit of a. We didn't watch British stuff. We didn't have
On
BBC.
Sunday is when we got together and watched our balaclavas, wasn't it?
Very good. We didn't have the BBC in my house. We only had the RTE, so we weren't watching Blackadder's, and
we got the BBCs when I was about old enough to understand about war. And then Blackadder was on, and they were all good. And then Blackadder Goes Forth came on, and I was like, holy fuck.
Oh, this is very grim and horrible.
This is very grim. I hope it ends well. Oh my God, it did not.
No, it doesn't. We're against war.
We are. Like, I would not fight in one.
No. I was having this conversation with my lady friend the other day, and she said, what would you do if they did a conscription? I don't
Go
know.
to prison where it'd be nice and safe.
Yeah.
I do quite well in prison.
Do quite a nice Muhammad Ali and just go, I'm not going to fight over there for you. Thank you very much.
No.
Gross.
What really upsets me about the upcoming wars, you'll have an initial kind of like, what's the word I'm looking for? Openness. The idea of like, welcome kind of refugees and stuff like that. And then you're going to have that seeping from the edges. Well, if it was me, I'd go fight in the war. I wouldn't let anyone come in and steal my country. Prick attitude appearing online.
Oh, here we go.
Oh,
come on.
Let's
talk about pop culture.
Saddens me. Back to pop culture.
Back to pop culture.
And pop culture wars.
And pop culture wars. So then his son gets killed.
Oh, so killed.
Incredibly shockingly killed.
Yeah.
In a tragic misunderstanding.
Having just realised the futility and grotesqueness of war.
Exactly.
Oh,
and then it goes back to high kicks and jumping about and leaping about the place, and there's a goat, and it's bonkers. There's just these two dumbass action films on either side of a harrowing 15 minutes.
Yeah.
It doesn't make any sense whatsoever. I was watching the scene in No Man's Land in World War One where they're fighting each other hand to hand.
And they have to stay silent.
And they have to be quiet. And I was like, that is horrible.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, 10 minutes ago, Rasputin was leaping around the place doing high kicks and licking people's legs. How is this the same film? What has happened here?
Yeah, they were trying to trick Rasputin into eating a cherry bakewell.
By seducing him.
Yeah, with Ralph Fiennes.
Very, very tonally weird film.
Yeah.
And then, just a complete waste of some very, very big... Stanley Tucci's in it for some reason.
Yeah.
Aaron Taylor-Johnson is in it for some reason.
Yeah, it just... Did all of these people lose a bet?
I suspect they're all in it because they want to be in the sequel.
Oh, is this getting a sequel?
I don't know if it will, because it hasn't been
doesn't.
very favourably received critically or commercially.
No.
Unlike the other big release of the moment, Uncharted.
Oh,
which I
that's
haven't
getting
seen.
panned, though.
Have you seen it?
No.
I've not seen it either. It's getting panned critically, but doing quite well commercially.
Oh, and isn't that what really matters?
Isn't that what to quote Ralph Fiennes, isn't that what really matters?
What really matters?
Yes, it is. Sony have already declared it a success. And have said we'll be starting a new franchise based on this one.
Oh, good old Tom Holland.
Little tiny fella
Just wants to swing around on something.
An airplane.
Spider-Man or in Uncharted, which... Like, I'd wager he swings on a rope in that.
Oh, he's non-stop swinging on ropes, swinging on
ropes.
Cables, swinging on pirate
Vines.
ships.
What else can you swing on?
Swings.
Yeah, probably. I hope there's a scene where Marky Mark pushes Tom Holland on a swing.
Marky Mark pushes tiny little Tom Holland on a swing. Apparently it's dreadful, but it's not stopping it from making a big load of money. I have no interest in it whatsoever.
None at all.
Less even than I have in Michael Morbius.
Michael Morbius. He just keeps on... It just keeps building, doesn't it? I wish they'd just release it so we could get past it.
Yeah, it's one of those things, isn't it? It's like waiting for bad news. It's just like, just tell me. Will you just tell me?
Look, doctor, if you could just tell me now.
Yeah, it's hemorrhoids, isn't it? Is it hemorrhoids?
It is.
It is. It's they've released a new trailer, vignette.
Yeah.
Where Jared Leto explains to us who Michael Morbius is.
Jared Leto, who, to be fair, has nothing to gain from lying to us about this movie and how good it might be.
He does, though.
Oh, yeah. So why would we believe him?
Yeah, I wouldn't believe him.
And, like, remember he said the same to us about the original Suicide Squad movie?
That was no use.
He was like, I'm in it loads. I did all this crazy shit. And then they just edited him out.
They just got rid of him. They just said, no, thanks,
They might
mister.
do the same with this.
There's a fairly strong chance they'll just edit him out of this and just be about Michael Keaton's Vulture.
a really angry vignette released in about 6 months where Jared Leto was like, I was in that movie.
I swear-
I shot all of these scenes.
I swear to God.
Hashtag release the Leto cut.
Yeah, very good. I'd bloody cut him. As soon as I look at him, I wouldn't. I've nothing against him really. He's just,
Nah, he did some okay.
he's just a bit of a pain.
Requiem for Dream was lovely.
He was in
Bleak as fuck though.
Dallas Buyers Club. He was good in that.
Yeah.
That's all I think I've seen him in.
He was in Fight Club.
Was he in Fight Club?
Yeah.
Was he the handsome one in Fight
Yes.
Club? No.
Yeah.
He
Well,
was in-
briefly handsome.
Yeah, not for long.
Yeah.
Robert bloody Paulson got a hold of him.
Okay.
Was it?
No.
Who got him?
Tyler Durden got him.
Was it Tyler Durden who got him? Oh, what a shame. Shane, we are going to move on to the topic of the week, which we had a chat about this beforehand, and now we're starting to think, oh, is this a great idea? We're going to talk about invasions in popular culture
Yeah.
and try and be considered and respectful in some sense.
I mean, I don't think we can ignore it.
Yeah. But look, let's just get it out there. Even if we say something which sounds contrary, anti-Russia here at the moment. Not anti-Russia the country, anti the invasion of Ukraine by
Yeah,
Russia.
not anti-Russia the people.
No,
We know
mostly
some of them.
mostly grand bunch of lads, it seems.
I mean, this podcast has gone out of its way to highlight the fact that the Western perception of Russia is more down to propaganda from Hollywood than anything else.
We bloody have. We did a whole episode on
see?
it. We did a whole episode on
Not
Russian.
anti-Russian people.
Not in the slightest.
Just really anti-invading Ukraine.
Yeah. Wish they'd knock that off.
No, they could fuck right off now.
That would be great, wouldn't
I
it?
suppose now would be a good time to suggest that if people are listening to this and they're in agreement with us, they could donate to any number of charities and causes.
You could maybe give a look to the Red Cross. They're doing
Yeah.
some solid work on helping the displaced and dispossessed.
I believe Ryan Reynolds and Blake Lively are matching donations up to $1 million to, I think it's the UNHCR or CHR, or
Human Rights Council?
maybe not that one. Red
Okay.
Cross. It's one of them. The good ones. I can't remember the acronym.
Look it up.
Yeah.
Ryan Reynolds will be
Find
promoting.
somewhere to help and do it.
Yeah. Ireland has removed all visa restrictions for Ukrainian nationals, so
Good. I think the UK have not.
now increased them, I think.
Yes.
Grand bunch of lads.
Absolute bricks.
Anyway,
Boris Johnson.
look at it. Anyway.
About as much use as a bowel obstruction.
Oh, very nice. Shane, my favourite invasion in all of popular culture is the invasion of the bugs of human space. The invasion by the bugs of human space in the film Starship Troopers.
I do love a good Starship Troopers.
Go on.
No, that was it. That was my
That's
point.
all you had to
Yes.
say. Okay.
I've read both the book and watched the movie many, many times.
Yeah. The thing about Starship Troopers is there's a whole lot of stuff to talk about this invasion. I'm doing a winky face when I say invasion in this case. Because in the film, we are under the impression, Shane, that the humans are just peacefully colonizing planets.
Yes.
But it turns out that they
They're
might have been
not.
they might have been not doing that. That they might have started it themselves.
They might have. The humans are a bit power mad.
Go on.
They want to go out. Well, in the book, there's 3 main power bases. There's the bugs, the skinnies, and the humans.
What's a skinny?
I don't know. I think they're about 7 or 8 feet tall and
Ugh.
kind of skinny.
Oh, too tall.
Fairly certain at the time of writing of this book, the 3 different people kind of represented 3 different nations, so they're probably Russians or something.
Didn't the Americans call the native African skinnies
Quite
in
possibly.
Mogadishu or something like that?
Yes,
In
that could be unrelated.
the Black Hawk Down. I don't think it is. Aren't a lot of those classic racisms from the army from books and films?
Might be. Back when soldiers read
Back when so
and dared to dream.
yeah, they're like, "Hello, welcome to the army. Here's Robert A. Heinlein's Starship Troopers. You're going to read that to get a start on
Yes.
your racisms."
Yes.
Was he a racist lad, Robert?
No, I don't believe so. He
Okay.
was libertarian, and which, I mean, may or may not be a recommendation depending on your own political viewpoint.
Mhm.
It was all about personal choice and sort of responsibility, the responsibility of the citizen, that kind of thing.
Go on.
It probably wasn't. Paul Verhoeven said he never finished the book, which It would. We could have just, instead of doing a podcast, read the book, and we'd probably be finished within the allotted time. It's a very short book.
It's a very small little book.
Yeah. It more deals with the central characters sort of rise from sort of irresponsible teen to responsible lieutenant throughout the course of the book. I don't think his hometown gets bombed. I don't think there's anything like that. There's no focus on the propaganda. The movie Paul Verhoeven made is all about the propaganda side of war and invasion and getting people to sign up, about how the war is spun rather than anything else.
One of the most interesting things, Shane, and the film Starship, and I think we've talked about it on the podcast before. You and I might have even talked about it on this podcast before. But one of the most interesting things about Starship Troopers is a lot of people don't realise how much of a satire it is. I think that's gone downhill in recent years. I think it's widely recognised as a satire now.
Oh, it would have to be.
But when it first came out, it was not seen as a satire.
I remember seeing it and going, that's hilarious. And then reading reviews and people were like, this is just another actioner film. And I was like, how did you watch it? The Irish Times.
It's always the Irish Times.
It's always the Irish Times.
Shane, in it, humans are definitely the baddies.
Yes.
Because, first of all, they're wearing Nazi uniforms.
They are. There's skulls and everything.
Unironically wearing Nazi uniforms. And what is it again in the movie? Is it that the humans invaded first? Or what's going on?
Well, we were introduced in the movie when meteors or whatever are being shot out of bug space. But I think it happened when the humans were going looking for the Queen or whatever.
Go on.
To try and find one of those.
Is it not the situation that humans colonize a planet which is already colonized by the bugs, and so then the bugs attack?
Yeah, Clondatu?
Or is Clondatu the bug homeworld, or is Clondatu the planet that they fight over?
I think Clondatu is the planet they fight over.
Okay, what's the bug homeworld?
Can't remember.
The bug homeworld, they probably call it.
Yeah.
But the bugs are, well, certainly aggressive. They are the victims? Nah.
Maybe.
Is the real message that war is bad?
I think so. I mean, if it isn't, you should be able to extrapolate that from pretty much anything.
Yeah, knock it on the head there.
Yeah, just, be nice to each other.
Do you want to knock it on the head there, lads?
Yeah.
No, we're big spindly insects. We're going to chop your heads off.
We've got a hive mind. We're not really sure what we're doing.
I interrupted you when you were telling about the skinnies.
Yeah, I've forgotten about the skinnies.
You were talking about how there's a power structure of 3 different races.
In the book, it was basically anytime one of them got too powerful, the other two would gang up on them and they'd have a nice big war, which would knock them back into shape. They never really wanted to wipe anyone out. They just wanted to maintain the status quo and were constantly at war. And war sort of provided the backbone of the civilization that they had. The fact that they were, a military civilization. Kept going, and it reinforced the notions of personal responsibility, citizenship, duty, loyalty, all of that stuff. The idea of you could live there but not be a citizen, and as such you didn't have voting rights, that kind of thing. Like, that was all held together by the necessity of having that held together because there was a constant war going on.
Constantly, non-stop war.
Yeah.
Huh. That's very different from the film.
It is.
Because in the film you have to serve in the army to be a citizen.
Yeah, well, that was the same in the book, but that was occasioned and made necessary because of the constant war. If there wasn't a war going on, or if you didn't want to serve on the front lines, you could still serve. Like, you could be a cleaner in the military as long as you served.
Oh yeah, because it
was all about civic duty and service and that kind of thing.
Because in the film, why were they so eager to get everyone into the army if there was no one to fight?
Yeah.
Oh, is that what you're saying? Oh, very good, very clever. Is that what's going on with Putin?
Probably he's a prick.
Or it's just that he's a big prick. Yeah, I'm sorry, I kind of forgot about that. But Shane, all-out invasions like that, or all-out war, there are... It's not the most common that we see. We do see a few, but I can't think of many films which are about aliens just coming to Earth and invading, flat out militarily.
Edge of Tomorrow.
Oh, they were no use, those lads.
No fucking dickheads.
Absolute shitbags.
Luckily, we had big, strong Tom Cruise to fend them off.
Yeah, and even bigger, stronger Emily Blunt.
Yeah.
Yeah, Independence Day.
Yeah.
With big, strong Will Smith to fend them off, and American Gumption.
Yes, and American Ingenuity as personified by Jeff Goldblum.
Jeff Goldblum and Randy Quaid.
Yes.
Was he? No,
He
he
was
was
just mad.
He was just gumption and
American mental instability.
American mental instability will save the day. We'll just find the right lunatic and we'll send him over. The other type of invasion, though, other than the all-out war invasion, is the old secret, sneaky invasion.
No, the secret butterfly in your head type of invasion.
The secret butterfly in your head type of invasion that we've seen recently.
The secret starfish on your face kind of invasion.
That was less secret because there was a big, huge starfish.
Yeah, and little starfish that were very obviously on people's
That were
faces.
just there on your faces. No, Shane, we're talking about the secret going in and replacing people with gross copies.
Ew.
Or so you've got two options.
Go on.
You can take over the existing people, or you've got three options. You've got kind of four options.
These options are just
So many options.
so many options.
Option one, the first
Option
option.
the first,
Okay,
yes.
the first option. Just don't invade.
Sounds good.
Yeah, Putin, you prick.
All right. I think sometimes they get around that with a little bit of sympathy for the aliens when they're like, oh, we've no resources back on our home planet. It's a dying world. We have to invade.
Yeah, we have to invade the Donbass, for
Yes.
example.
Now, you couldn't really say that about Putin and Russia because he's a prick.
Anyway, where are we going? Yes, so option the first is you can go in and you can just take people over.
Transformers. How did we not think about Transformers as an alien invasion?
Because they never really invaded, did they?
Didn't they? Wasn't that the point? But the
Oh.
Autobots were here to stop them.
I suppose they kind of did.
They came here to steal the resources and enslave the population.
But they only really invaded Chicago.
And
Multiple times they invaded Chicago.
I think that was more the scope of the comic. And
No, the first one, I mean, they didn't plan to invade Earth because they don't. Maybe, I suppose invasion is the right word, but they kind of more wanted to exterminate rather than invade. But in the cartoon, in the 80s cartoon, they just happily lived on Earth.
yeah,
They didn't seem particularly interested in
just
taking
want
over,
to
per se.
fill up their energon cubes.
That's it. They just wanted to fill up their energon cubes and cause a bit of mischief. Do an earthquake by punching the ground.
Yeah.
You know that little fella? He's like, I'm going to do a big earthquake. I'm saying that if I don't know his name. But anyway, what were we saying? So, option one, you
Yeah.
go in and you just take people's bodies over. So you've got your butterflies
Yeah.
from the TV show Peacemaker.
Very good TV show.
They're at very good TV show.
Very good. Very
Stunning. Great ending. You've got your invaders from Mars. Is that the one? Is that?
Good.
Yeah,
I don't
that's
know,
the
that's
one.
the one I haven't seen.
That's no, not that one. Hold on, am I getting films mixed up here? I'm thinking about the one where they come and they get you and they bring you to their spaceship and they drill into the back of your head
Ooh,
and they take over your brain.
don't know. Now that you've said Mars, all I can think about is War of the Worlds.
Oh yeah, that was a crap invasion.
It was. They
They really-
just got wiped out by like bacteria.
They weren't ready for it.
No.
They hadn't
Once
done their
again, though,
research.
Tom Cruise.
Yeah.
This podcast is more about Tom Cruise.
It's more about Tom Cruise stopping invasions than anything
Yeah.
else. How have we not talked about War of the Worlds?
I don't know.
Okay, let's take a step back and talk about War of the Worlds. War of the Worlds is easily, next to Putin's current invasion of Ukraine, the worst planned invasion of all time.
Yeah, it really is.
They only sent a handful of walkers.
They did, but we're talking book or movie.
I'm personally talking Jeff Wayne's rock opera, but you know whichever one you want. Which one do you want to go for?
Let's do a bit of a contrast. Book was written from the perspective of like local philosopher, and he's seeing it and he's very philosophically explaining, you know, the folly of the Martians and all the rest and what's happening and what he's seeing, and it's a very limited scope. Movie comes along and there's no need to have a philosopher as the central character, so Tom Cruise plays this blue collar worker, and the scope is basically what media can show and what happens in front of him. So again, you don't need anything eloquent said by him, you just need the emotional resonance of Tom Cruise acting his little heart out, and he nails it. Either way,
He gets sucked up into that big thing.
yeah, either way, the walkers come down to Earth. They're
Yeah.
technologically superior. They're, you know, physically stronger, all the rest, until they forget that, you know, they haven't spent any time here getting acclimatized to tiny little germs and bugs, and they all catch something approaching the common cold and just die.
It doesn't make sense, though.
It
doesn't
doesn't.
make any sense because at the time that the book was written by Hubert Gilbert Wellington, Wellingtons, germs, the concept of germs was such a new discovery that of course it made perfect sense that other races wouldn't know about them. But there's no way you're getting from Mars to Earth and not being aware of bacteria.
Yeah, it was the first thing. I think even now spacemen have to come back to Earth and do a little bit of a quarantine so they haven't brought anything back from space. We're that fucking paranoid.
Maybe because of that book.
The vacuum of space might infect us.
Yeah, maybe because of that book, though.
Or because people have seen too many alien invasion movies.
Mm.
They could be carrying something in their brains.
They could have anything on them. I love the book and the
rock opera.
And I genuinely love the rock opera. It's absolutely brilliant. Have you ever heard it? Have you never listened to Jeff? If this podcast achieved nothing else other than all of the listeners going and listening to Jeff Wayne's War of the Worlds, it's absolutely brilliant. And the score of it, maybe score is the wrong word. I don't know what the right word is, but the score of it is so good. You'll start hearing it in anything around the theme of invasion or aliens or anything. You'll hear it and you go, that's War of the Worlds again. They just done Jeff Wayne's War of the Worlds. It's absolutely brilliant. But my favourite bit of the whole thing is have we talked about this in this podcast before?
I don't think so.
Is
finally, viewers, fresh ground.
Finally something.
Mark your calendars. Ring the bells.
My favourite scene in it is when the aliens are trying to stop ferries from crossing the Thames, and a Navy ship, a fictional Royal Navy ship, called, I can't remember what it's called, but a fictional Royal Navy ship shows up to fight them and dies heroically. But in the meantime takes out 2 or 3 of the walkers and the ferries manage to cross.
It crashes into a leg or something, doesn't it?
It broadsides them and then it gets shot. And
the weapons don't really do anything, but with its last breath or action, it does something useful, vaguely. And the book. HMS Thunderchild. The Thunderchild is the only ship that has nearly made me cry in the history of fiction. I will listen to Jeff Wayne's War of the Worlds and I will put my hand on my heart and say, oh, Thunderchild, you saved those people. You noble beast. It's great. War of the Worlds, the rock opera, is absolutely incredible. I'd love to play a bit of it, but we'll get copyright struck. But yeah, terribly planned invasion. Yeah, absolutely shocking.
Nearly as bad as Putin's current invasion of Ukraine.
Yeah. Hopefully Putin just gets a cold and dies.
That'd be great, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Anyway, back on to what we were saying. You can do it so you can take people over, like the butterflies, or you can kill people and replace them, or you can kidnap people, stick them in an old pod, and replace them.
You're really splitting hairs there.
Killing
and podding.
But if you pod them, you see, it depends on whether you're weird alien technology. If you can just take people over, or if you can just replicate them.
Most of the time, the pod has some sort of brain helmet,
link
that feeds you their memories and lets you operate as them.
Yeah. So that's the classic pod people. Your invasions of your body snatchers, your invaders from Mars, your Marvel's Secret Invasion, which is coming up shortly.
Oh. What form is that going to take?
The Marvel Secret Invasion, Shane, was a big comic book. You love a big comic book crossover.
I do love a big comic book crossover. What I meant was, is that going to be an animated thing?
No, it's a television show.
Oh.
It's with Samuel L. Jackson.
Oh.
It's going to be on Disney Plus.
Oh.
Yeah. But it's going to be a television show. And in the comic book, the Skrulls came years ago and kidnapped a load of everyone and replace them. And a lot of people have been Skrulls the whole time. And I'll tell you what, you've no way of knowing who's Skrulls.
Oh.
You can't tell who's Skrulls and who isn't. Your molecular scanners don't work. Your Wolverine smelling doesn't work.
Oh, no.
Nothing works. So anyone could be Skrulls. Even people who definitely aren't Skrulls could be Skrulls.
Oh, wow.
So famously, it was revealed in the comic book Secret Invasion that the first Skrull was revealed when Elektra was killed again.
Oh, she gets killed so often.
She's always getting killed. I thought she was supposed to be good at fighting, but she's always getting killed.
Up the patriarchy.
As your son would say.
Yes. My infant son would say.
It's going to get us in trouble.
With my...
With
wife.
your wife, for one thing, for sure. She didn't seem to find it very funny. What were we saying? Skrulls. Elektra got killed. Got a big gross green
Couldn't fight
chin.
her way out of a cardboard box.
Apparently not, despite her reputation. And then got it revealed to have a big green chin. And like, if Elektra's a Skrull, who else is Skrulls?
Oh.
And it could be anybody. Name someone that could be a Skrull.
Ben.
Most likely a Skrull, yes.
More than likely a Skrull.
Sean Penn.
Oh, definitely a Skrull.
Almost certainly a Skrull. But also Madonna. There was a communication mix-up. No use.
No.
How, we should do an episode on celebrities that have been forgiven for the unforgivable.
Yeah. People who got in there just before it was unacceptable.
Yeah, no
you
use.
know? Some sort of reverse witch hunt.
Mm.
So you thought you got away with it.
Exactly. Just a historic witch hunt. But Secret Invasion, the comic book event, was quite disappointing because it turned out that relatively few important people were Skrulls. The main one turned out to be Jarvis.
No.
And
an AI?
No, because Jarvis is a person in the comics.
Oh.
Just a butler.
Oh, that's shit.
And Spider-Woman. That's how everyone reacted. That face you're doing.
I did a face and I shrugged.
Yeah, that's how people reacted too. It was like, oh, okay, it was Spider-Woman, was it?
Spider-Woman all along.
Yeah, no one's favourite character, Jessica Drew Spider-Woman, was a Skrull. Okay, fair enough.
We'll move on.
Yeah, it's a shame. So hopefully the TV show will be better.
Yeah.
But the TV show has not established the Skrulls as a terrifying invading force.
No, they're decent blokes.
They're mostly Australians.
Yeah.
They've never invaded anyone.
No. I mean, that one time they went to Turkey didn't end well. And again, war is murder.
Yeah, no use. Let's knock it on the head, lads.
One of the probably 5 or 6 songs that will reduce me to tears is Waltzing Matilda. Oh God, it's bleak.
Is that about war?
Yeah.
Go on.
There's the invasion of invasion Sufla Bay, where they went to Turkey.
All right, go on.
Johnny Turnkey blew them all to hell.
Huh.
Oh, we'll listen to it after. We'll have a little bit of a cry.
Okay, we'll listen to Thunderchild and
oh God,
and Waltzing Matilda. We can see who can make the other one cry. Shane, are there any other gross body snatching invaders?
I don't know. I came up with a couple of invasions there on the fly, so I've forgotten what we talked about before this.
I think we're pretty much there. We had body snatchers, we had pod people, we had Starship Troopers, we had All Out War. I think we're pretty much done, unless you have anything more to add.
No.
All right then, let's bloody wrap it up, ladies and gentlemen. What do you think of invasions? Do you think that we should probably knock them on the head?
I mean, yeah, let's hope you do. If you're for invasions, you and I aren't going to be friends. If you can't help and do something nice for the people of Ukraine, try and do something nice for the people around you.
Yeah.
That's the message coming out of this podcast this
it's
week.
A very positive message.
Well, there's been a bit of levity, but it also worries me because normal people have had their lives turned upside down. So be nice to them.
Put a Ukrainian up in your house.
Yeah.
If you've got a spare room and they need it. Like, don't just grab any Ukrainian.
Yeah, there's plenty of Ukrainians living here who probably don't want to come live in your house.
Yeah. Don't force them.
No, that's kidnapping.
Don't do it.
We're against kidnapping.
Yes, against kidnapping and war. So, tell us your opinions on whether invasions are good or bad, but only if it's that they're bad. There are many ways... Oh, this is Ben's bit. I hate doing this bit. There are loads of ways you can get in touch with us. You can find us on the internet at shomrabeag.com, www.shomrabeag.com, SEOMRABEAG.
You can probably find us at the end of the coming week at a cinema when we'll go to see The Batman.
Oh, The Batman is coming out. We'll go see The Batman at the end of the week.
So
That'll
just
be
come
exciting.
up to us.
We won't be wearing masks.
No, we won't be wearing masks. Self and Mick look vaguely similar.
Yeah, you have more
Largish
hair.
men with a ginger beard.
You've got more hair than me.
I do.
Considerably.
I'm trying to look like Captain America in Endgame.
Are you going for a Captain America and Endgame sort of thing? Oh, very good. SeomraBeag.com on the internet. We're also on the Instagram.
SeomraBeag.com website. It's actually won the title last year for the least updated website on the internet.
It updates automatically.
Does it?
Yeah. Because every time we post a podcast, it just updates the...
Yeah, but there's no other updates.
Well, there's nothing else going on. We've been in lockdown for the last 2 years. We've got Dublin City Comic Con.
Yeah.
Let's talk about that very briefly. We've got Dublin City Comic Con coming up in 2 weekends' time.
Yeah. I have to go to my nephew's birthday.
Oh, that's good news to tell me just now on the podcast.
I might only make it for one day of the Comic-Con.
Okay. Well, it's on March. We're not promoted by Dublin City Comic Con, but it's on March the 12th and 13th, or
12th
March
and
the 13th and 14th.
That weekend, whatever it is.
So if you're there at Dublin City Comic Con, we'll probably be there with a camera, either
Yeah.
Saturday or Sunday. Hold on, we'll just find out now.
Don't know.
Don't know, one of them will be there either Saturday or Sunday.
Yeah.
Come up.
Look, if you see a couple of lads with a camera, ginger beards,
Yeah,
having the crack with people, go over and say, "Hey, Mick."
yeah.
And like, even if it's me, I'll answer and say, "Hey, how are you? Thanks for
will.
listening."
He will. It's Identity Theft 101. Come over and say hello to us at Dublin City Comic Con in 2 weeks' time. You can also find us on Instagram at Sure Listen Podcast, I think.
No idea.
Always up to date, always lots of stuff going on. But the best way to bloody get in touch with us is to hop up on the Discord. It's very modern. It's what modern people are doing, apparently. So you can hop up on there.
I think it's like some sort of town hall meeting where everybody gets to have their shout and say.
Yeah.
That's
It's like imagine if Facebook wasn't centrally controlled by Zuckerberg
Ooh.
and you had a bit more independence. But it's been bought by Microsoft.
Speaking of invasions and taking over.
Oh, speaking of body snatchers.
Yeah. Shadow banned from here on out.
Exactly. You can hop up on the Discord. The link is down below in the description. Thank you very much to Shane for stepping in for us when Ben was indisposed.
Very welcome.
And
It's always nice to show up and talk about the things that Ben refuses to talk about.
the hard issues.
Yeah. And Jack Reacher.
And Jack Reacher, the difficult topics. And we will see you bloody next week when we'll be back to normal operating procedures, one imagines. See you then.
Bye.
Bye.